Okay, welcome to the Hellbound podcast. This is the first podcast from the Hellbound Horror Festival. My name's Alex Blackburn. I'm the founder of the festival, and we have Michael Chan, the community cosplay and community, what would you say?
Community content producer. Hey, everyone. I am indeed Michael Chan. There are too many of me. There is a Facebook group of Michael Chans where there are several born on the same day and same year as me, but just know that I am the best Michael Chan.
You're the original, the one and only.
Yes, I am the one, and all my doppelgangers are gonna die. I am coming for you all. No doppelganger will survive.
Well, that brings us quite nicely to what this podcast is about, or what we think this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about horror and our enjoyment of it, our discovery of it. Yeah, discovering not necessarily new horror, because we like to kind of look back as well as look forward. So we'll be talking to hopefully filmmakers, industry types, stuntmen, voiceover artists, a whole plethora of people from the Hellbound Festival that submitted last year that have got new films coming out, and we don't know what the format is yet, so we're gonna have segments. Possibly it's gonna be a chat about horror or chat about a particular film maybe, and then we're gonna have a nice mixture of old and new.
Now I know this is an introductory episode, so can we talk a little bit about our poster, our awesome poster for our art that you commissioned? Thank you very much.
Well, that's so our poster. Michael's frozen. Are you frozen, Michael?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, you never stopped, my man.
Ah, right. Okay.
So apparently, so you see, that's how you know that the spirits are trying to get me right now, or is it the other doppelganger Michael Chance? They heard me. They're trying to hack me, so that's why we paused, or I paused. But I could hear you. All right, Michael Chance, I see you. I see you. Very clearly. Come at me, bro. But yeah, can we talk about our poster, our awesome poster that you lovingly commissioned from? Who's the artist?
The artist is from Indonesia. He's called Danny Perdana. Hopefully that's how I pronounce his surname. But hopefully we'll have Danny on the actual show in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too, because his art is amazing. I gotta say, so our original poster for the Hellbound Horror Festival is quite interesting. So I wore the hoodie that I got with the poster on the back to set the other day, and people were like, wow, that's a cool poster. What is it? I'll talk a little bit about Hellbound. I'm trying to do a little bit of promotion for our podcast, and I was like, so can you guess which one in the poster is me? And without fail, they always point to the one that's you and say that it's me. And that's because you didn't have a beard in that one, because we're supposed to be teenagers. So somehow you teenage cartoon you looks like it's supposed to be me. So I'm actually really appreciative that in our current poster for the podcast, you actually have your beard back, because now at least people know that that's you.
I looked at repurposing that original art, but I thought, no, we want something that's just uniquely us. And yep. I'll go into one of the details, which is uniquely us and quite erotic.
Oh no!
I gave Danny a brief originally for the Hellbound art of have a look at the Fright Night posters. 80s horror posters was the main brief, and you're on. So I think I had a clapperboard, you had the camera, and Nadia had the boom microphone. And then there was like the kind of discovery of hell and like this devil character above it. And we don't look alike at all. We don't look alike.
Not in real life, no. We're completely different colors, man.
I feel like which film is it? Have you seen The Rocketeer?
Yes, I have.
You know the guy that's got that massive face, the tall guy, the kind of.
Yep.
I've got his face.
What?
On that artwork. I feel really bloated in that. I'm like, what's wrong with me?
In the artwork. I was gonna say you don't look anything.
Not now, no,
in real life.
No. I kind of let that go because he did such a good job with Nadia and you and the rest of it. And I was asking him I sent him pictures of the three of us, and I asked him to make us a little bit younger because I kind of wanted the Stranger Things vibe, and I was happy with it. Anyway, so Danny has produced or starting to produce a new piece of art for this audio podcast. It may be video in the future, but we're kind of starting off in audio.
Mhm.
because you don't want to see me because I look like a potato at the moment. So
Potato, like GLaDOS from Portal 2.
yeah, like
That potato.
look at this top half. The top half looks relatively normal. Then I've got like a six pack, a keg. I've got a keg.
He really does have a six pack. No, I'm not. I'm not joking. This man is one ripped, sexy man.
Someone said to me when I first went to a gym, "Yeah, you've got a six pack under there. You'll get there at some point, but you've got it there somewhere." So the new artwork is inspired by predominantly the kind of 80s horror, because that's a big influence for me, and I just love seeing the iconography of 80s horror. And I wanted to make this is the most important thing that I said to him, that you and I were equal in it. I didn't want to kind of have this Ready Player One where there's one main character then kind of floating heads. I wanted you and I to be equal, and I think you are taller than me, because in the artwork you are taller.
I'm 6 feet tall. Since I've only ever seen you online, you're technically taller than me, because the way you frame yourself, you're always above me.
Yeah, so I've got this kind of Davros thing going on, in the chair. So yeah, it's kind of Danny suggested, why don't you have like some sort of tomb or a setting where ancients kind of being woken up, and I absolutely love that. And there's it's very Indiana Jones, it's very James Bond, and I asked him to change the gun you have in the artwork. I wanted you to have a revolver. It looks like you've got something from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. currently, so I didn't want that. And then I asked him to emboss the Canadian flag like a soldier's emblem, a logo or flag on your shirt somewhere, and then the Union Jack for me, because I want to represent. And then so I look so middle-aged in this artwork, but I don't mind it. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's been black and white kind of sketch form at the moment. I think he's done I don't know what he's done, but I think he's actually used our photos and he's kind of transferred it. The hair looks perfect compared to the images I sent.
Yeah, the hair is absolutely perfect. I don't know why artists
from your profile photo. Your main, that one where you wear kind of polo top. It's a really good photo of you. That's the one they've used.
Yeah, that's my main headshot. Yeah,
you're going to be surrounded by Pinhead, I think the main monster from The Thing, and Freddy Krueger. And the only reason it's 3 and not like a big crowd scene is because Danny is doing 10 days worth of work in 2.5. So props to Danny. We'll have him on the show at some point. So this podcast is just about having fun with horror and speaking to other people about horror. But I absolutely want to talk to you, Michael, about specific horror films. And sometimes when you watch something like Green Inferno, hopefully you've never seen it. It's the Eli Roth film about a group of people, I think it's in the Amazon, that go and find this undiscovered tribe, and it's just body horror for body horror's sake. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, it's one of those films that when I was back in film school that they talked a little bit about. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to watch this. I mean, maybe I should for education's sake, but I still haven't. It just didn't. I love horror. Like, horror is my favorite genre of film, but I don't know. I can't bring myself to watch that.
Yeah, it's
based on what I know.
And it's the same vibe I got from Saw. Like the first Saw, there's a few things about it. Then after that, it was just about mutilation. I'm like, okay, there's no plot here. I'm not interested, and it's disgusting.
The first Saw actually had a really good idea. Like, gore, violence aside, it's a really good idea and definitely worth exploring as a franchise, I felt. But yeah, it went off the rails eventually, and I lost interest. Mind you, I did watch Spiral, and that was a weird turn for that series.
The funny thing about Spiral was I love Chris Rock. I think he's brilliant, but in that, he's got this tense look on his face the entire movie. It's kind of slightly unsettling.
I don't know. I almost felt like he didn't realize he was in a Saw movie and was trying to give his first ever like legit serious Oscar performance, which just did not suit him.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from the trailers and teasers and everything. That
they're going to
do something
serious.
Different. Yeah, I was just like even the ending, everything was just so similar to the original. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to watch this ever again.
Hostel, by the way, is a movie that I absolutely despise. See, I know it's supposed to be a horror film, but it's so stupid and it's just, gore porn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
torture
just
porn.
this
Yeah,
torture
yeah.
porn. Sorry, yeah. I just know. I regret watching that so much.
If we have film fans or filmmakers on to suggest a horror film for us, and then
Mhm.
we can go away, watch that, and then the three of us can talk about it. We can talk about what they produce or what they're a fan of. So I think that's a nice way to kind of expand what we
I
like,
think,
and
yeah. Well, it's kind of like I mean, we didn't have to go and rewatch it or anything, but we've both seen it. But like when we had Jeffrey Riddick for the other podcast we did, um, and yeah, we talked about Final Destination. I feel like that kind of format, that kind of discussion would be really good to have on this show and this format that we're doing.
In case you don't know or you haven't heard the podcast, Michael and I interviewed for the Hellbound Festival Jeffrey Riddick, who created the Final Destination franchise. And if you know horror, I think you know that, because especially the first one is when I think I was working in the cinema at the time. I think maybe 2001, 2002, and it was such a great idea. It was originally going to be an X-Files episode. And I think it's fantastic. So we'll put a link in the description for. Are we going to have a link in the description? Consider this is audio. Probably not, but we'll find some way of linking you to that interview. But that was a fun one.
In the description itself, like, so I have another podcast that I do, and anytime there is a website, I do actually put a link, and depending on which, like, if it because it goes up on all the other different platforms like Apple and Spotify and all that, and it depends on whether it's clickable or not. But on the website for my podcast, it's definitely clickable. So I think it is worth having links for our listeners to go and check things out.
Another kind of production thing I'd like to do with this podcast is maybe layer in audio as well, like as though we're in a crypt, or like the way I pictured it. I don't know if I said this to you the other day. Maybe this was in a dream, possibly. That we're in two high back chairs, like in the Matrix. Like in that tall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The two pills. That you and I in those tall chairs in a kind of broken down house or abandoned hospital or something, and we're just talking about horror. That's the kind of setting or the mood setting that I like to kind of think of that people are listening to. So maybe I'll layer in some audio, maybe I'll layer it in even on this episode, just to give it a bit of ambience, a bit of atmosphere.
I think that's a great idea.
Just something.
It's the first time I've heard of it, and I think it's amazing. Yeah,
just to kind of bed it in, just to kind of give it a bit of like even have creaks when we walk in, maybe like a like a prison door or something. That standard sound. The standard sound of every prison door is the same.
Oh yeah, the creak. Yeah. So since this is our first episode, maybe we should let our listeners know a little bit about us. So who are you, Alex Blackburn?
It feels like A&A, which I've never been in. But I'm a. Can I call myself a filmmaker? Well, I'm a film festival founder of the Ice Station Film Festival, but I don't want to go into specifics. But I've been making films and producing and editing since 2002, so almost 20 years. And the first thing I edited was a sports award thing, and I got the names wrong, and the wrong people went up on stage to get their awards. So it was a complete nightmare. But since then, I've gotten a bit better at that, and I would say I'm a stronger producer, and I really want to be a solid cinematographer. I want to shoot things for people. Like I've got this urge to shoot film, like anamorphic, or I want to, I'm bettering my lighting all the time. I've got friends that work on huge projects on TV, and I've worked on a feature film, and I've worked on a TV series that have been quite successful. So yeah, I kind of dabbled, and I just got this continuing interest. I love movies. Like, depending if we ever release a clip of this episode, I've just got this memorabilia fest behind me. I don't have.
It's beautiful to look at.
It's kind of, I want to create like a little set, that isn't a YouTube set. It's more, it's me. This is all, you know what I mean? This is me. It's like, like an explosion, like a piece of Dali art. That's how I see this room I'm in now.
Well, I am in a gray void.
So who are you, Michael?
There's literally nothing behind me. and quite frankly, I want to keep it that way so the other Michael Chans can't find me.
So Michael,
Yeah.
when did you start kind of acting up? That's what I'll call it. When did you start acting
up? So I originally went to university for human biology. I was pre-med, and I actually do have a degree, a bachelor's of science in human biology. So me, scientist. But during university, I was bitten by a radioactive acting bug and was transformed into your friendly neighborhood acting man. So after university, I agreed with my parents to do a whole bunch of practical things first, like get my real estate license, and I am a realtor, to go take my LSAT, MCAT, and just explore every practical money-making option before I go to film school. And so I did all that, and then they supported me in my decision to go to film school. And then I officially, I guess you could say, officially, I don't even know what that means, but I started acting in 2006, and so at this point it's been 15 years that I've been doing this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I started in doing mostly theater and commercial voiceovers in non-union stuff. Eventually I made a transition into film, and then I got like a proper agent, joined a union after getting quite a few credits. I've been in shows like Dan for Mayor, Covert Affairs, 13 the series, and I've just been building since then. I have a whole bunch of stuff I wish I could talk about right now that I'm in that's more impressive than what you can find on Internet Movie Database, but I can't because I'm NDA'd. But hopefully by the time you listen to this, some of them will be out. I don't know. But right now you can see me in the TV show on APTN. That's a Canadian channel for the Aboriginal people. But anyways, on an amazing show called Unsettled. I'm in the first episode. It's an honor to be an Indigenous show over here, and we need more of that content. I think their culture is definitely one that people should get more exposure to all around the world. And anyways, yeah, so Unsettled on APTN. I'm also in a whole bunch of commercials right now, one of which is for the National Democratic Party, NDP party of Ontario. I have a Safeway commercial coming out, so watch for that. And I am going to be in the Christmas movie called Say Halo to Christmas. Watch for that.
That's awesome. If you're on that kind of crop of Christmas films I can find online at some point, I'll be so proud of you. That'll be fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a guilty pleasure movie, and the plot is just so cheesy, but I love it. I like Christmas movies outside of horror. Christmas movies are a massive guilty pleasure for me. Like, Christmas is my actual favorite holiday. Surprise, surprise, because everyone thinks it's Halloween. Nope, Halloween's number 2. Christmas is my number 1. And cheesy, absolutely horrible Christmas movies are my love and passion outside of horror. So to be in one is like a dream come true, but to be in horror is an even bigger dream come true. And I have already been in a couple, so I'm happy about that. Can't really talk about those right now though. However, if you look up the YouTube channel Pandoodles, I'm in a Christmas horror comedy sketch called You Gift, I Gift. So it's Pandoodles on YouTube. It's a pretty good horror comedy.
I can attest to that. I really enjoyed that. And that was one of the first things that I saw, I think, before we met or we talked on the Other Festivals podcast. I think, I really enjoyed that. So please check that out. We'll share a link for that as well. Whilst you're doing that, I was doing a bit of a kind of a little bit of keyboard work. And I've got a very good friend that I think she's basically been a friend of mine since 2004. And she's been in one gigantic movie. She had 4 lines in that, and she's in a horror film called Two Heads Creek. Now, that's definitely something we should watch. Two Heads Creek. Her name's Kasha Bajor. I've known her for so long. Hopefully, I've not butchered that name. But yeah, she's incredibly funny. A fantastic Polish actress, and she's been in the UK for I think almost 20 years now. So. We'll have Cash. We'll have the Kasha. She was on. She was in Justice League, the original version of Justice League, and she walked around the set. And yeah, she didn't even know what she was going to be in originally. So, and she couldn't tell me. And the way she said to me, "Go and see the big movies that are out this week." And I said, "Okay." So I went to see all the big movies. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't see her in those." And I thought, "All right, I've got another one I need to go and see. I'll go and see Justice League. Go and see on an IMAX." Which is obviously a massive, massive screen. And in the UK, there's only 5 proper IMAX screens because a lot of the other IMAX screens, spoiler alert, are just retrofitted and they've got the brand name and they aren't real IMAX. They're something else. So I went to see it in a proper IMAX Justice League because I like all that comic book stuff. And I went to Manchester and I saw my friend on this giant, like 90, whatever the size of the screen, 6 foot, 6-story screen. I was like, I know her. I was in a campsite once in Amsterdam with her. What's going on? And I didn't know. It was such a pleasant surprise. And she shares scenes with, I think, Ezra Miller, The Flash. We'll definitely have her on the show. And we're looking to have a few other people, and like Ian Rayburn, who's...
oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, and I had a little sneak peek. I had a little sneak peek of something he's not released yet, which we'll talk about at some point in the future. It's crazy, but yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of this for you, Michael. And so yeah, I think we're going to keep this as an audio podcast because I can be a slob in the house. I don't have to put, I've got a few lights on here, one there, but I can be a slob. I can do my Marlon Brando,
I can wear my PJs, no pants.
Exactly, yeah.
I did a Zoom play reading one time, and we had a little break in between so we can all go to use the washroom or whatever. And I won't say who it is, but one of my actor buddies stood up and forgot that his camera's still on and we could see his heart, his boxers with the hearts on it. I'm like, dude.
Oh my God.
Great. It was great. We won't let him live that down.
Oh my God. That's been the biggest fear. Like the closest I've been to, because we've all had those dreams about not necessarily being at school and not having any clothes on, but at some point, some embarrassing thing, you wake up from it. I've had it where I've worn my wife's, let me be careful, her jogging trousers, and they're, a little bit loose, and I've just had to hold them on the side because they're going to fall down. And sometimes I embarrass myself even when I'm on my own. So yeah, we all have those moments. So yeah, hopefully they won't crop up in this podcast.
No. Well, I'll just tell you one embarrassing moment from my life so that we can get it out of the way. I trained as a lifeguard when I was a teenager, and actually became one. But in one of the classes, I jumped into the pool and, feet first. And it wasn't like anything aggressive, but my trunks just, I don't know why or how, they just split in half and fell off. To this day, I can't explain how that happened, but there I was, completely naked, and had to,
Was it a journey of self-discovery?
Run back to the change room, and all the parents could see from the viewing area, and my classmates and my instructors and the actual lifeguards. And thank God I had a second pair of trunks. This is a true story. I have a lot of embarrassing stories. Like seriously, I'm probably one of the most embarrassing people alive. I'm a klutz. I'm a weirdo. I'm a dork. Stupid, horrible things happen to me all the time. But if I tell the world about them, at least people can laugh now and not. I don't know, if I get famous or something and end up on Conan O'Brien or whatever. He can pull it out. I'm like, I already told people about this. I don't know how they have footage from when I was a teenager because cameras were expensive back then, but
oh my God, that's just kind of access to memory that I can't say the person is. One of the first dates a friend of mine was on, well, not one of the first dates, so like several dates on, he had a hotel room for him and his new girlfriend. And he ran in, and they'd had a few drinks. He ran in, jumped on the bed, and he actually just shit himself on the bed.
Oh my God.
So he jumped up and down on the bed, and he just shit himself in front of his. And now he's engaged to her.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we
Oh wow.
I've probably got some that I'm blocking out in my head. Some horrible stories. There's one in Moscow that eventually I will tell you probably off camera or off
Okay.
mic. It's yeah. My brother nearly crashed his car when I told him because he was laughing so much.
Oh dear lord.
Uh,
How did this end up on our first episode, dude?
Because it's horror. It's real horror. That's what it is.
It's real horror? Real,
Uh,
real horror.
so I think we'll leave it there actually, because
I think
I'll
that's great.
spiral
Yeah.
off.
No,
So
spiral off, huh?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Movie. Yeah.
So yeah. Well, what we'll do is, I think we'll end it there.
I'll tell you a horror pun.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, we've got to end each episode on one now.
Oh no. What happens to a house when a ghost? Sorry, what happens when a ghost can't pay the mortgage on its house? The house gets repossessed.
Oh my god. I think we just cut it there.
Dum-dum.